You ready?
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
ready. Let's do this.
I have been waiting to talk to my guest today for a long time. And it's hard to schedule because she is the busiest woman on the planet, I think, or at least maybe in the state of Minnesota. You are a busy lady, and we're going to talk about it. But Cori, I am so happy to have you on the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Melissa, for having me. I think all the professional organizers in our group could agree that we're super grateful for your knowledge and your classes and your mentorship.
Oh, thanks.
A lot of us probably wouldn't be where we are if we did not have your amazing
Oh,
classes and guidance. So thank you. And I'm sure I speak for like literally everyone, but we really appreciate you.
that
So
is really sweet. I do love what I do and your story. We're going to get into your story, but one of the things that I love about Corey is that we met a little over a year ago and she comes into our Facebook group. She joined one of our courses and comes into the Facebook group. And I noticed, I was like, oh, we have a mutual friend. That's weird. And then I found out that she lives near me. We live in the same general area. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, another Minnesotan. This is so exciting. And then she went from nothing. You went from having no business to having like 212 million locations, approximately a huge team of people. Genuinely, you're one of those people that I'm so excited for your success because you have worked really hard and you have built something extremely inspirational. So
wow, thank you.
happy to know you. Okay,
Thank
if you are watching this on video, you can see Corey's shirt says Meat and Potatoes Organizing. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Cool. So, meat and potatoes organizing, as you said, it started right after COVID. People started going into homes after COVID. I was a longtime listener of the podcast, actually. I was staying at home with my kids at the time. They were very small. And before then, I had managed really large gyms in Chicago and Kansas City. So, I have a lot of coaching and management experience, but I really didn't like where the fitness industry was going. And when I had a chance to stay home with my kids, I said, of course. But then I realized how much that drove me nuts. So I wanted to work again. And when I wanted to go back to work, I wanted to go into something that I actually felt passionate about. And so I'd been listening to podcasts for a long time, driving in my car back and forth to my parents' house. And I was like, maybe I could try this organizing thing. And I had no idea you were even in Minnesota, to be honest with you. I thought Jen was in Texas, and I'm like, oh, there's somewhere in the world, organizing. And it was just so neat to find out that you're in my neck of the woods, which is
Yes.
crazy, and that you help professional organizers and guide them. So that was awesome to hear. And I feel like we made a great connection right away. And I was like,
Yes.
this is so cool. So anyway, I started organizing right after people kind of started going back into homes after COVID. And one thing I realized right away is that I didn't like working by myself. And so I've always played sports and coached and I love teams. I love being a team player. I like the community of a team. I like the support of a team. And I thought, if I'm going to do my passion, I want to do it for what makes me happy. And I really want a team. And on some of these projects I was on, there were like these gigantic garages or huge basements. And I'm just like really lonely.
Mm.
And I thought, if I brought two more people with me or even one more person, we could have so much fun and we'd be more efficient. So the other part of that is that a lot of the organizers, at least in our area, work by themselves. And I thought it would be cool to just differentiate myself by saying, well, you can have this organizer who works by yourself, or you can hire a team if that's what you want, just so we're different. So I was like, okay, well, let's do the team thing because that felt really right for me. And with management experience and stuff, I have a big business background. So I was like, let's do it. So we hit the ground running with teams, and that has just been super fun. So with that comes hiring, contracts,
Yep.
invoicing, scheduling, buying and selling product. Right next to me is consignment. So these are all like super fancy dresses we're consigning online.
And you do
It's
furniture consignment too, right? Like
so we do furniture consignment on the spot during the project.
okay.
And then if it doesn't go, then we have the person take that over. But we don't actually bring any furniture into my house. This is our office. The only thing I'll bring into here are things that I'm okay with setting on my porch for a Facebook pickup
Yeah.
or things we could ship. So, and we're shipping every day. We try to put 5 to 10 items up on eBay and Poshmark every day. So this is my backlog of stuff that's not up yet. So they get to stay with us for 3 months and then I either bring it to another consignment store or we donate. So and they
Okay.
get cut a check. So that's kind of how that works. And I can kind of explain. So when our teams got bigger, we had to develop a strategy, right? Because you've got your lead organizer who's in charge of most of the client interaction. At this point, I am running the business. I don't so much organize inside the business. So I'm the salesperson. I go to all the consultations. I meet with all the lead organizers. We schedule the plan. We order the products. And so with meat and potatoes organizing, we help people get down to the basics, the meat and potatoes. So that's our whole tagline. That's what we talk about. People like to laugh. It helps them when they're very vulnerable to like just talk about meat and potatoes and talk about getting them down to the basics, and it's catchy. People do remember the name. One thing we ran into as we were building teams is we needed an a la carte menu. And so our a la carte menu are options that people can purchase as upgrades. So yes, we offer the meat and potatoes, which is your basic organizing service with 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 organizers, depending on how many people we need for the project. And then they can add upgrades, which are on the a la carte menu. So if they want us to run errands, if they want more than one donation drop off, if they want us to manage their dumpster, we have professional organizing, and then we have other things. We call the errands action hours. And so instead of just saying, oh, yeah, I'll go to half price for you, I'll go to turnstile, I'll go do drop off at the school donation. Sorry, we allow one, and then from there, you have to pay for an action hour. And people are okay with it generally. Otherwise, they're like, oh, I'll just do it myself. And that's fine too. So we've changed the business a little bit. And so what we're trying to create at Meat and Potatoes Organizing is more of a system, right? Because we want as many people in the world to have access to organization. So that's why we put people in different locations, is because we want more access. So, like, for example, I have a team in Fargo because there are 0 professional organizers in Fargo right now. And it's like those people have no access to organizing, and that's a shame, right? And then my other girl who just started in La Crosse, Wisconsin, there are 0 organizers in La Crosse, Wisconsin. So it's more of an access thing. And if I can create a business model and a system that works, then they can implement the organization, like the organizing or the technical part of organizing.
Yep.
Well, we've created an education course for our organizers to like follow a specific, this is our system, this is what we do. There's a specific way that I have been hiring people and what I'm looking for and all that kind of stuff. And I'll be really, I guess, honest at this point. For me and potatoes right now, we're looking for people who love to organize,
Mhm.
are amazing technicians, and are good at their craft, that are extremely decisive people
Yes.
who do not want to run a business. They don't want to do social media. They don't want to update a website. They don't want to send out invoices. They don't want to call people. They don't want to go to networking events.
Yep.
That is who we are hiring at the moment, because I run all the business stuff and the entrepreneurial stuff and the big idea stuff. And then the organizing itself gets done in a way that works. So I know there's a lot of organizers that listen to this podcast. And if you hate running a business, come talk to me.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so this is a really good point because I do think it's important for people to know the reality of what are you trying to get into.
Yeah.
And there are people like you and I who we love doing the business stuff like that. That's actually what I super, super enjoy. Right. But there are people that are like, no, I just want to make the spaces look beautiful and I want to, clear a room out and redo it and have someone be really happy. I am not interested in trying to fill a funnel, or I don't even know what a funnel is.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out and do all that. And I don't want to start a website and learn SEO and learn Google ads and whatever I need to do. And so there is an intersection of I want to be a business owner. I would like to be an owner that is also an active organizer. That's what I do. I would like to be just an organizer and don't ever talk to me about an invoice ever. Like there is a huge swath of,
Spectrum, right?
yes, it's a huge spectrum of what you can do in this business. And I think knowing what actually excites you is really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, for sure. And that's not to say that like I do jump in on about one project a week,
Yep.
and I do love to organize, don't get me wrong, but there's so many other things that really have to be done. I actually read a really good book lately, which y'all should read. It's called The E Myth. And
Oh, yeah, I read it.
get it? Okay, so the theory is that there's like three personalities going on inside of you when you create your own business. There's the entrepreneur, there's the technician, and there's the manager.
Yep.
And the technician just wants to be their own boss. And the entrepreneur is thinking of all these great creative ideas. And yeah,
Yeah.
do that. The manager is saying, you guys are driving me nuts. We need order, we need invoices, we need scheduling.
Yep.
If that is not the internal conflict I feel on a day-to-day basis, whoa. I mean, you probably all can feel that. And it's a great book. But anyway, it helps you understand, okay, like how do you handle that and figure out what do you want for your business
Yep.
and do you want it to grow? And if you want it to grow, why do you want it to grow?
I think it comes back, and I talk with coaching clients about this a lot, is we all have questions, right? And sometimes they're big questions and sometimes they're stressful questions, but it always comes back to what are your goals for your business? And reminding yourself, and in the same way that I ask clients, what are your goals for your house? What is your goal for your business? I need to make this much money, or I just want to serve one client a week, or whatever that looks like. And then you remind yourself of that and those decision points. It's also about trying new things to
Yeah.
determine whether you like them or whether you don't. So there might be people that are sitting here listening and going, "Oh man, I think that all that business stuff sounds terrible." Have you actually tried it? Because you might actually love it.
Yeah.
Till you
Yeah.
have tried it and then said, "You know what? This is maybe not my jam. I'd like to hire a bookkeeper," or
Yep.
whatever that looks like. But trying things, saying yes, and then making a really measured and data-driven decision about, "I do wanna do this," or, "This is not my jam. I'm gonna try something else."
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things as like a creative person really sucks is that you want to say yes to everything.
Yes.
But then when you actually look at the bottom line in the books, you're like, there's and a lot of times when you're starting, it's a gamble, right? It's like, is the risk worth the reward? We don't know. We have to try.
You
So we
have to try
try
it.
and
Yeah.
then we reevaluate. And
And you
yeah,
might have to try it a couple times too. That's the other thing.
I'd have to try it a couple times or do it in a different light, but the same kind of thing, right? And so there's all this almost like Game of Thrones or chess going
Yeah.
on in the background, right? And you have to like that. And not everyone likes that, and that's fine. But you do have to kind of play around and try things, right? That resonate with you and resonate with what you feel is good. But then at the end of the day, I will say your bottom line can't be in the red. So
Yeah.
is this decision going to pull you in the red? Because I know that your business won't last much longer if that's the case.
Yeah.
Unless you've got an endless funnel of funds you can pull from, and that's great. But there's a lot of us out there that we don't.
And I think that the important thing there is you also have to know your numbers. And I think that
Yeah.
sometimes people don't necessarily know and they don't necessarily do the data crunching. For instance, how much time are you spending? If you say yes to, I'll take this as 7 donation locations, how much time are you spending? How much gas money are you spending? How many
Oh,
miles are
yeah.
you driving and putting on your car? Have to know those numbers to be able to make an educated decision about whether it's worth it to you or not, too.
Right. And then also, if it is worth it, then how much are you going to charge? Because you
Yep.
also don't want to lose money. Even by the time you drive all those places, I mean, you
Yeah.
got to really crunch those numbers.
One of the things that people really struggle with is the charging piece because it is hard. And sometimes talking about money and talking about pricing, it feels uncomfortable for some people. So, how did you arrive at your comfort level on what you were charging? And especially with a team like you're
Yeah.
not joking that like you might have 7 people on a job and
Yeah.
someone's going to be paying a lot of money to have 7 people on a job. How did you work
Yeah.
that all out?
Absolutely. So what I did, I tried the package thing and for me it didn't work and I'll tell you why. When you are managing people, life happens.
Yeah.
And when I promise that 3 people are going to be at your house for 24 hours and somebody has a sick child and now there's only 2, who has to figure that out?
Yeah.
I do. I don't want to do that. I ain't got time for that. So what I did is I just say, we charge this amount for 1, this amount for 2, this amount for 3 per hour, right? And so on. And you will only be billed for the amount of people there and the hours that are worked. At the end of the day, I will send you a bill, and that is it. There are no discounts. That being said, we have a monthly maintenance plan, and those clients, they get organizing at their house every month. but they get a 15% discount on anything they purchase. So it's recurring revenue for us, which has been a great for our business model. And for my girls, they know every month they've got their people, they have these great relationships and they love that. But I just went back to an hourly rate, no discounts, unless you're monthly maintenance. This is what it is across the board. And the other thing I did is I have a really awesome mentor who's in the home maintenance industry, and he goes into people's homes on a quarterly basis. Well, his people do, and they maintain water heaters and put salt in and clean your fridge and all these things, right? Um, and it's kind of the same thing as organizing. He goes in and he sells the service, and then the people come in and do the service. And so I met with him and he talked to me about his sales process and just gave me that, you know, this is what your company is worth. Here are things you can throw in if somebody's like a little shaky, right? Like I could throw in a garage cleaning upgrade where we come in and shop back in power wash. I can throw in a deep cleaner to come in and clean while we're doing your house. So
Yeah.
we have options. So when I'm giving a sale, I'm like, here's how much organizing costs. And here are the things that are extra. And if they're leery, I have options to sell to them, but I don't give discounts. I can throw in some extras, and then that's typically how I work that. But I don't give any discounts to friends, family, nothing. It's just this is our price. So that's kind of the give and take for pricing.
Yeah. Pricing is hard because so everything that Corey has just described, we could find 10 organizers that do it completely differently.
Absolutely. It's just what works for me and
Yeah.
my personality and what I'm willing to do.
Right. And what I tell people is, and we sometimes teach things that are different, but then I always tell people, at the end of the day, you have to do things that work for your business. Me, the most important thing about pricing is you have to, without blinking, without, hedging, you have to be able to go into a client and say, it is this much money. It is $100 an hour, or the package is $1,800, or whatever your pricing looks like. The most important thing is to be able to say that confidently and without, yeah, but I mean, I know it's expensive, but like, here's what you get. And I'll do a couple extra hours. And anytime you backpedal, like just whatever you can say confidently and make a profit for your business, that is what you have to do.
Right. Absolutely. And the thing is like one thing that I do, I know some people don't, is they put pricing on the website. I put pricing on the website. And then when my email goes out before we even talk, they click on the page to learn about our services and the pricing is right there. So
Yeah.
if they've looked at all at
Yeah.
the website that I sent them, they know going into it what's expected of their price. And then it's more of like, is this project going to take 12 hours or 20 hours? Because I know one organizer is this much. And so then it's like, okay, I think for this project, you'd be better with 3 organizers and maybe 2 days or
Yeah.
so then they know the pricing up front. I think that helps because then if they've read at all, then I don't have to be like, and by the way, it's 100 an hour.
And surprise. It right. Well,
At the
and
door.
so, one of the things that I did when I first started my business is I actually didn't put prices on my website because
Yeah.
I wanted people to reach out. I was naive. I wanted people to reach out and we could have a conversation before they assumed I could or could not afford it. Then it was a few months in and I realized there is someone in our general area who did something similar, similar organizing style as me, and she charged $250 an hour. And I had this moment where I realized, oh, people might be comparing me and her website says $250 an hour. My website doesn't even have a price. So they probably assume I'm $300 an hour. And I'm like, oh, I need
Right.
to let people know. Also, when I go to a website, I want to know how much is something going to cost me generally.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I want to know as a consumer. And so if you put that out, I'm a huge proponent of please put your prices on your website because it helps you for a bunch of reasons. It helps you potentially sell someone who thinks that they can't afford your services, but they find out actually they can. It also allows people to, if it's not something that works for them, they are going to weed themselves out before you've put a lot of time and energy into it. We want it for both positive and negative reasons.
Absolutely. And one thing we did too is once we raised our prices and put that on the website, our jam is busy working moms and dads that do not have time to organize. That is specifically our client. That's who we target. That's what we
Yeah.
market.
That's your ideal client.
That's our ideal client. And we found to trial and error that this is about the amount they can afford for organizing.
Yeah.
But when our prices were lower, we were getting projects that were super labor intense, super emotionally intense, burning the organizers out and
Yeah.
myself. And so that's one positive of raising the prices, and it also helped the bottom line. So you
It's
gotta look at all aspects. And but then I think, oh well, this isn't necessarily affordable for the elderly, and I love helping the elderly,
yeah.
but I understand it's maybe too expensive, and so we try to brainstorm different ideas for that.
Yeah, and you still have to make your business work. There have been people that I have coached where maybe you do a charity project once a quarter
Yeah,
or something like that, and you can do things like that. The other thing that I will say is don't forget that you're doing something cool by serving underserved areas. Like you said,
yeah.
you're in 2 areas where there previously were no organizing services, and so bringing organizing to areas where people don't have it is awesome.
We do like once a quarter, we do pro bono stuff, which has been super fun. Those are the projects I go and I normally take somebody that I have in training and as my shadow. And so we just use it as training day. So that's been really fun. So if anyone has people they're training, like that's a great opportunity to do charity work.
Right. Yeah, get some learning hours and do something good at the same time. Did
Yeah.
you have any idea? Like, did you envision where you are now with all the different locations you have and the huge team you have? And did you see this for yourself or was this a surprise to you?
I probably never would have admitted it, but I definitely had this vision in my head of I had this deep burning desire to like run something meaningful and huge and impactful in the community, in the society. I really have this burning desire. And I do think that this is all a manifestation of things that were inside of me. And I just am now taking action. Right. And I mean, I say I started small, but I think I always had this really grand vision of how can we do this and how can we help? And mental health is super, super important to me. And I just think, if anything else, we're helping people's mental health when they can't even get in to see a therapist, right? But we've
Yeah.
made their day and taken a weight off their chest because we got rid of their clutter. I mean, that's awesome, you know?
It is. I tell people all the time, this is a mental health service. And especially now in the last 2 years, mental health has been such a struggle for so many people, even very strong people who don't usually struggle. It's been hard. And this is absolutely a mental health service for so many people.
Yeah. So yeah, the answer to the question is yes. I do think I always thought it was going to be um big. I
Yeah.
just didn't know it was going to happen in a year and a half.
Yes. It happened very quickly. And that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to have Corey on this program because I have been so amazed. And part of it is like, I love your confidence that, like, yes, this is what I envision. And you should dream big for your business. Dream as big as you want to be.
And
But
also for other female entrepreneurs out there, like you can do it.
yes,
You can absolutely do it. Compare us against the men, but you can absolutely do it. If you have support, you know how to ask for help. And this, again, your course is like you have support. You can ask questions, you have these resources, and all of these organizers who
who
have
have
taught
seen
all of
everything.
yeah,
They have seen everything. And so there's never
exactly.
a situation you could
Yeah.
bring that someone's like, oh, that's weird. I've never heard of that.
Right. And so you can do this, and I think that's super important for me to just feel helping female. I know men can run organizing companies too, but I just think it's really important for females to have that mentorship and see other females succeed in business
Yeah.
because that is really important. We need to see that.
We absolutely do. We need to grow that. And it still is so sad. In 2022, I came from a corporate background. There are still so few women in leadership roles of major businesses. And I love seeing women who step out of their comfort zones and say, I am ready to start a business, even if it's something I've never done before, or maybe I've never envisioned this. I'm telling you, it is doable. And whether you want to aim as high as Corey has, if you're more in my range of like, I love working by myself. That's what I love about organizing. You can love working with the team. I love working by myself. We can be whatever we want to be, and breaking out of your comfort zone a little bit with help, because there is always help available.
Yes.
You do
That's
not have to go it alone.
no, no, and that's what's so great.
What's your biggest thing? If you could go back to the beginning, is there anything that you would do differently?
Yep, I know exactly what I would do.
Okay.
And here's what I would do. I would join I know this sounds weird, just hold on for a second. I would join a business networking group that
Okay.
meets in person right away.
Okay.
Here so, I go to a BNI group every week,
Okay.
and it sounds like a huge commitment. It's like 7 in the morning till 9 in the morning every Thursday, right? In this group, there's 30 other individuals who work with the exact same clientele as me.
Mm.
They're hairdressers, they do collision repairs, they do roofs, they do interior and exterior cleaning, they do HVACs, and then every week you talk about, I do professional organizing, and here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the mom who is so stressed right now and her mother is trashed. That's a good referral for me this week. And you tell those people, and they are your sales force. The amount of money we have brought in, kids that are highly qualified and in my area,
No.
is absolutely amazing. The connections alone to get into people's house, to be face to face, to talk about your company.
Yeah.
What do you do? Who are you looking for? And very specifically, that has made me think and grow and challenge. And I've made these great connections. And now we've got leads coming in from that alone, really.
Well,
And from Google and from referrals of happy clients and stuff like that. But that is a huge, huge component of our business. And so the other thing is that I do ask the leads who go to a new location to join a local networking group, whether it's the chamber, but actually attend the meetings and talk about stuff, right?
right.
Join some type of in-person networking group. And even like Lakeville, I joined that chamber and they produced a commercial for me for free. And like,
Gosh.
I mean, there's just resources, right? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. So instead of hiring a videographer for $1,200, I got a free commercial. Like, that's amazing, you know?
Yeah.
So don't forget about meeting people in person. If there's one thing I had to change, I would do that way sooner in the ballgame.
I want to talk about this a little bit because we have people. So there are a few things. So BNI group, BNI stands for Business Networking International. And there are some organizers who get into BNI groups that aren't as good. So each individual
True.
BNI group is very different.
True.
But the other important thing is for BNI in particular, what I see sometimes is people are like, oh, I'm not really getting anything out of BNI. What Corey has said is go back and listen. She knows how to talk about her business. She knows how to talk about the client that she is looking for. And what I will tell you is that sometimes with these networking groups, you have to kind of explain what professional organizing is.
Yes. So that's a key point, Melissa. And I think it was you who was working with the girl who's talking network or like sending out an email. Like you need 7 to 10 exposures about organizing before you even decide you want to purchase, right?
Yes.
And this happened in the group. They had to listen to me talk about organizing 5 to 10 times. Then all of a sudden, phone calls, phone calls, phone calls. They weren't sold until I talked about it for 7 weeks.
They sometimes don't know that this exists out in the world, but
Yeah.
you
And they're like, why
know.
would I do that? And so literally took 7 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
No joke of me talking about this is my clients. This is what I'm looking for. Here's what we do, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, just like magic, like the research shows,
Yeah.
calls come in. So if you can't touch clients 7 to 10 times, you got to figure out a different way to do it. For me, that's what works really well for me. But everyone has to figure out how do you do that? Because that's how you fill your pipeline.
And
Yeah.
referrals So however you do it, if
Right.
if a networking group maybe isn't your jam, I still tell people you still have to network. You have to tell people what you do. You have to be able to concisely talk about what you do and really explain it to people who are like, "Wait, what? What?" I have had so many people in my life go, "Wait, I don't understand." I'm going to be honest, it's mostly men.
Yeah.
I'm just
Oh,
going to
yeah.
say it. But you have to be able to say, this is what I do, and not just say, I'm a professional organizer. Well, what does that exactly mean? Be able to break it down and explain to people the transformation that you give, how you do it, and who
And
you're.
even if you do that on social media, but you talk about it, right? So you're maybe reaching your people through social media. Like my example last week is like, here's what I need. Are there people who are parking their cars outside of their garage and that can't put their car in the garage? White gold is happening. It's
Yeah.
happening soon.
That
Want to
means
scrape
no.
it?
For people who live in
Yeah.
dense areas,
Sorry. White
that
gold
means
is
no.
no. If you don't want to scrape your car every morning, you need to call us now because we're booking and we're going to be done at the end of October and then you're screwed.
Right.
And I cannot even tell you how many people called after that. And I was like, yes, that's what we need right now.
And that's a concrete example for someone who doesn't understand. Now, you may not live in a cold hellhole like we live in, but if you can say, I'm a professional organizer, and someone goes, wait, what? You could say, do you need to park 2 cars in a garage and you can't because there are 7,000 boxes in there, or you have an entire room that you can't even get into? That's what I do. I clear it out. You have got to learn how to talk about your business in a way that is relatable to whomever you are talking to. It's super important.
Yep.
I wanted to bring Cori on because I want people to be inspired by her growth and know that she's not there's nothing magical. This is going to sound bad. There's nothing
Oh,
magical about you, Cori. You're magical, but you're not, there's nothing about you that you're like, oh, I had $1 million to spend on ads, or
oh,
I had this magical formula that no one else had. You created this from nothing.
yep.
And so people who are listening to this, whether you are thinking about, hey, I would like to start this as a side business, as a passion project, or I really want to commit to this, I'm ready to quit my job, or I'm uncertain about the future, I need to create a second stream of income for whatever might be coming. Whatever that looks like for you, you can create anything you want in this industry.
Absolutely.
And no matter where you are.
Yep. It doesn't matter the location, it works.
All right. So, business empire builder, meat and potatoes, CEO, mom, lovely person, great friend. Cori, thank you for being on the podcast with us today.
Thank you for having me. I look
Where
forward
can
to
people,
it.
I need to have people, where can people find you? Meat and potatoes.
Meatandpotatoesorganizing.com.
All
And
right.
Instagram is at Meat and Potatoes Organizing.
Meat and potatoes. And just in case you're spelling challenged, potatoes does have an E when it is plural.
Yeah. Potatoes.
So we would
Okay.
love to have people connect with Cori. She is an awesome human being, and I am very happy to know you. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, Melissa.